Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, I'm so glad you stopped by Grateful Living Cruises. On my channel, we do everything involving a cruise, reviews, tagging along for the adventures, learning how to live life gratefully along the way, and just enjoying our time together. Thank you for stopping by, and if you love the content that I put together for you, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing my videos. Today's video is basically kind of the top 5 things that shocked me about Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas and the itinerary that I took with them. So on my channel, I do have all the other videos day by day of my trip. Our stop in Catalina Island, our stop in the excursion I took in Ensenada, Mexico, a full ship review and tour. And now we're kind of wrapping that up with the top 5 things I thought were shocking about my journey. Now, a little bit about the Navigator of the Seas. If you want a full ship tour, you can watch the other videos on my channel. But basically, Navigator of the Seas is, at the time of this recording, I believe about 23 years old. She's definitely older than 20 years old. She has 15 total decks. She can occupy about 1,200 crew members and a little bit less than 3,500 actual guests. And that is with a little less than 1,700 staterooms. So she's not a huge ship, but she's also not the tiniest of ships. So I like to consider her part of that medium-sized class of the Voyager-class ships. She is part of the Voyager-class ships, and to me, as you guys already know, I really love the size, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But she did have an amplification a few years ago, which means kind of like that's what Royal Caribbean considers like an uplift, a remodel. So she did have an amplification in which she got several updates and things that needed to be done, but it wasn't a full, complete remodel of the ship. However, they did a fantastic job. So let's just jump right into the top 5 things that shocked me about Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas and the itinerary that I took. The first thing I found really shocking that I was not expecting was simply the port from which we took off and embarked upon the ship. It was the port of Los Angeles, so right outside of Long Beach. I flew into LAX, the Los Angeles airport. I rented a car and I drove down to the Long Beach area where I stayed in a hotel. I rented a car because I had some friends in Los Angeles that I wanted to visit that I had not seen in a very long time, but I wanted to stay near the cruise port so that I would be close just in case of traffic or anything that might happen that is unforeseen. And I found myself pleasantly surprised. Like, I loved the area I stayed in right next to the port. I loved being able to drive just across the bridge to Long Beach to either go out for food or to visit people or whatever. Huntington Beach, which is where they have a lot of the surf championships, was just down the road. And then of course, Los Angeles was not a far drive at all. I was able to do so many things in the day and a half that I was there, and I really enjoyed my time there. The weather was great. It was in the summer, but it wasn't overly hot. I didn't feel like I was dying the minute I got out of my car. So I thoroughly enjoyed being there in the Los Angeles area and taking my journeys beginning from that port. I thought it was really fantastic. And so if you're like me, maybe you're a big person, or maybe you just don't like the heat in the summer, this side of the United States might be a good area for you to leave on your cruise during the summer months. Now, the second thing that I found very shocking about Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas is how well maintained the ship looked and felt. It felt very modern. It did not feel like she was over 20 years old at all. I know she was amplified and had some renovations, but sometimes you can still tell, even after a ship has been amplified, that, okay, yeah, they made it look pretty, but it's still an old ship. I thought the Navigator of the Seas was so well maintained. It was beautiful. It looked modern. It felt vibrant and happy. I just felt really amazing from the moment I stepped on the ship until the time I got off of the ship, at which point I didn't feel very good, but you know, we have to continue on, right? I really loved the feel of Navigator of the Seas. Again, like I mentioned a while ago, I like the size of it. I like that it's not too big, that it's not too small. It didn't feel overly crowded. I felt like I had plenty of service if I needed service from a crew member. I didn't feel like the spaces were overly crowded at any main given point in time. I didn't have any trouble getting into the show or the main production in the theater. I really just had a great experience overall on the ship. Now, another thing, the third thing that I was shocked about, I did not know about before I got on the ship, was that at the time of its amplification, when it received all the water slides and the fun stuff, it got a water slide that is the longest slide at sea, and it's called the Blaster. It's basically propelled kind of like a roller coaster with the water jets helping to continue to push the passenger through. I know some of the newer brand new ships are having these water coasters as well, but at the time that I was on the ship, it was kind of a new thing, right? And it was the longest one at sea. And I thought that was really cool to have a ship that wasn't brand new, that wasn't humongous and state of the art, best of the best, you know, that they're coming out with, that had a feature like this, which could cater to anyone that looks for more of that thrill-seeking adventure side of the itineraries and the ships for cruising. I just thought it was a really cool thing. I didn't know about it beforehand, and so it was a pleasant surprise for me. The fourth thing that, I don't know if it's really a shock, but something that I was really kind of happy to see is in the Playmakers sports bar there on Navigator of the Seas. It has the same menu as all the other Playmakers. It has its little sports bar theme. It has the, you know, pool tables and all that, but it also has a cool feature that I didn't know about beforehand. It has what's called the owner's box. And the owner's box is basically like a little VIP room. It's first come, first serve, but if you can get there with your group, it's kind of like having your own private room. You know, like when you have a birthday and you want to reserve the private room of a restaurant, that's kind of what it felt like, but on a smaller vibe. I thought it was a really cool feature that I had not at that point seen on a ship's Playmakers sports bar. And I just thought it was a really interesting find. So if you are going with a group and you kind of feel like you need a little space, that might be a good option for you as well. Or if you just want to go share a campfire cookie with, with your group and not be judged when you devour it, then that might be a spot for you as well. Now, the other thing, and I will probably say this on every ship that has this because it is just something that I really love about any ship with this feature. But the fifth thing that just really set the shockiness over the edge for me is the fact that this ship did also have a helipad that you could access. And you guys know I'm a sucker for a helipad. And the reason why, I just feel like of all places on a ship, the helipad can be the most exciting and it can be the most peaceful. When you're having your sail away parties, being on the helipad, if the weather is nice and they have it open, can be really exhilarating because you have basically 360 views of everything from the front of the ship. And you have the breeze and the sound of the water, but you have great views. It can be a fantastic spot for sailing away. But also, guys, at nighttime, it can be a beautiful spot for stargazing. You have the breeze at nighttime, which is just cold enough typically to make you feel like you need a blanket, but you can still see the stars. You can still hear the water passing by. It is a fantastic spot. I sometimes just would go sit out there for like an hour at a time and just enjoy and just relax and just meditate. I love the helipad on these ships. and I love that they give you access to them when the weather's nice. On Navigator of the Seas, I believe it's deck 4. You can go forward and then all the way up the stairs. If the gate is open, that means the helipad is accessible for guests. Usually I've only seen it closed when the weather is bad because it is on the front of the ship. But if you have accessibility issues, then you can go up to deck, I believe, 5, go to the Star Lounge, and then find the doors that will take you out to the helipad from the Star Lounge. This way you can be kind of in that area without that long flight of stairs, and you may just have a short flight of stairs if you want to get on the actual where the helicopter would land. But I think if you've never done that, if you've never stargazed from a helicopter pad in the middle of the night on the front of a ship, this is definitely something that you must find time to do. And a lot of people don't know how to get there, so oftentimes it's not very busy at all. So these are my top 5 things that shocked me about Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. And I have just a bonus thing I want to share with you, and that is regarding the itinerary. Before I went on my cruise, I had read a lot of people posting some negative things about Ensenada, Mexico. And so I just wanted to talk about the itinerary real quick. On my channel, I've already done full reviews of my port stops day by day. So you already know that I love Catalina Island and that I had a fantastic journey in Ensenada. But I just wanted to reiterate, you make what you want of these itineraries. When I was in Catalina Island, it had everything I wanted. The weather was perfect. It was very picturesque. I enjoyed my little excursion of the sightseeing tours. I was able to capture some beautiful photos and memories. I absolutely loved it. I actually do like the tender boat process. I know a lot of people hate it and it's very controversial. I found it interesting. I found it added a layer of adventure, if you will, to get from the ship to the island. I don't get seasick, so the rockiness of the tender boat did not bother me. I really enjoyed it. And in Ensenada, I actually really loved the excursion that I went on. Now, I may have had a different opinion if I had not done an excursion, because in the city of the port area, there's not a lot really going on, and you have to probably take a cab to get to anywhere. But the excursion I took to La Bufadora is amazing. The geyser, the natural geyser, the blowhole, whatever you want to call it, it was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. I would definitely do it again. I would take my friends to that journey. And overall, I just want to say I was just very happy with the entire trip, from the ship to the itinerary to the excursions that I took. It was a fantastic time. So don't be discouraged if you're thinking about this trip or itinerary. Please go ahead and book it. You will be so grateful. And if you just leave it with an open mind and enjoy yourself, I think you're going to find it very, very, very worthwhile also. So anyway, these are my tips and the things that I found shocking and that I loved about my journey. I hope you'll continue to follow along on my journey as I have more videos coming. I just got back from being 8 days on 2 different cruise ships. I have lots of content still coming, so I appreciate you hanging in there, liking and subscribing my videos, and all the support that you guys have provided so far. It's a journey together, and it's a journey that I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to share with you all. So until then, wait for my next videos, and let's remember to continue to live life gratefully. Bye guys.